that, so I'll bring you up to date. So. Hello. In case you don't know them, these are all members from my office. And, yeah. You know what? We only need two.
Yeah, we'll give you your homicide and carjacking.
Homicide, carjacking, and then I'll do that later. Yeah, kind of put that to the side so we can see the guys. Okay. Yep, perfect. Okay, here we go. All right, everybody. Happy New Year. And as we step into 2026, I wanted to take this opportunity to reflect on what I think is a remarkable progress that we made in 2025 here in the district, a year that I believe truly marked a turning point in the fight against crime here in the nation's capital. First and foremost, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to President Trump for his unwavering commitment to law and order, his surge in federal law enforcement resources, bolstering our teams with additional agents, advanced tools, and a no-nonsense mandate has been nothing short of transformative for the people in the district. And under his leadership, we have seen a renewed focus on cracking down on violent offenders, dismantling criminal networks, and restoring safety to our streets. This isn't just rhetoric, it is reality, and it is real action that has delivered tangible results for the people of the district. So let me share on some of the successes from 2025 that highlight our tough stance on crime. Now, crime stats. As a result of the surge to date, there have been 8,406 arrests and 856 guns that have been taken off the street, which prevents them from being used in a homicide or an assault with a deadly weapon or any other kind of crime. These statistics that you're about to hear reflect an overall yearly decrease in crime, which you well know. But the general statistics do not tell the whole story. The story begins with the impact of President Trump's executive order and the Making D.C. Safe and Beautiful. And it is the federal surge and the subsequent enhanced federal cooperation and enhancement that has made the dramatic change for the people in this district. And it is incredible. As most of you know, there were some issues with the stats from MPD, which actually, as we reflect on it, make it clear that crime is down more than we even thought, because crime was really higher than they were actually reporting. So, downward classification of certain crimes in the daily crime report, or the DCR as it's called, did not reflect the true level of violent crime that was going on in the district. Now, there are 4 categories of violent crime and 5 categories of property crime that make up the DCR. Many of these were tweaked so that arrests did not reflect the real crime that was occurring or that was being committed. So, for an example, assault with a deadly weapon might be registered instead as a lower aggravated assault, or endangerment with a firearm, a lesser crime. So the statistics, even the ones that we're giving you now, do not reflect the real story and the real true crime. The good news is that once the case got to my office, these prosecutors behind me are the ones who looked at those arrests and made a decision as to what the appropriate level of crime would be. So, bottom line, we are prosecuting crime in the district like never before, with real consequences, real cases, real accountability. And for the first time in years, violent offenders are being prosecuted aggressively instead of being released back onto the streets. Prosecution rates are at historic highs in the district. We are prosecuting crime like never before in the District of Columbia. Fewer than 10% of the cases go unprosecuted, compared to almost 70% of the cases that went unprosecuted in the last administration. So, As a direct result of the increase in prosecution, tougher enforcement, crime is coming down in D.C. And since the enhanced federal partnership and the surge as well, as you can see, homicide is down 60%. Robbery is down 49%. Carjackings are down 68%. And as someone new to the district, that was the one thing that people constantly talk to me about, carjackings. And they are now down 68%. Overall crime down 32%. The reason the crime isn't down even more than that, than the 32%, is because now we're accurately counting assaults with a deadly weapon as opposed to minimizing them with lesser or non-DCR crimes. And this proves what law-abiding citizens have always known, and that is that when laws are enforced, communities are safer. Now let's talk the homicides. Homicides are down 60%. That does not tell the whole story. We take the cases to trial. We rely on the D.C. juries to give us a just verdict based upon the facts and the evidence. And those verdicts, along with the pleas, give us a 94% conviction rate in homicides. You may have heard me in the past passionately talk about the number of African American teens who were killed by gunfire in the district. You may recall that in 2024, the number of teens shot and killed, all African American, every one of them, was 29. In 2025, the number was 19. But the real story is this. In 2024, on average, more than 2.5 African American teens were shot and killed. All right? From the surge, in 5 months, only 2 teens were shot and killed, and that's 2 too many. But you compare it to more than 2 a month to now 2 in almost a half a year. That's huge. That is big. And that's because of the president's enforcement of the law and making D.C. safe and beautiful. Now, I want to talk about some of the takedowns of criminal enterprises, actually violent crime and narcotics. My office works obviously in close coordination with the FBI and our law enforcement partners, DEA, and we have dismantled very high-profile gangs and drug trafficking rings. You may have heard of Knox Place. That neighborhood in southeast D.C. saw an influx of violent crime. Utilizing wiretaps, we worked our way up from street-level dealers in the neighborhood to a California-based source. And this summer, we arrested 14 people from the area and across the country, seizing more than 20 firearms, multiple kilos of powdered fentanyl, crack cocaine, and 17 gallons of PCP. Now, the Blues Brother, another group, is a fentanyl trafficking investigation that originated as a result of an overdose of a young mother in D.C. We charged nearly 30 individuals, again, across the country, moving from the local level all the way up to the supplier and Mexico, including a Mexican national who had previously been convicted of selling drugs in the United States, had been deported, came back, and got involved in this narco trafficking. He is now in prison for a long, long time. His group, the Blues Brothers, were in possession, and we seized almost 500,000 fentanyl pills and 30 firearms. And another unusual case in June, we secured a 15-year sentence against an individual by the name of Javon Mark, who in this operation, led to 14 people being charged, 20 guns being seized. We're not only going after the people who are selling the drugs or trafficking in the drugs, we are charging now individuals who sell drugs or give drugs that are then used and result in the death of an individual with the crime of overdose resulting in death. So if they're selling drugs and someone dies, we're now prosecuting them for the actual death itself. We're not letting them get away with their poison. And one Javon Mark was convicted of selling drugs that caused the death of two prominent members of the Washington gay community, a Brandon Roman, an attorney, and a Robbie Barletta, a historic preservation expert. Now let's move on to child exploitation. Child exploitation and human trafficking, I'm sorry to say, is alive and well in the district and across the country. We prosecute internet-based crimes as well as the production of child pornography and the coercion and enticement of minors to engage in all kinds of sexual conduct as well as trafficking. In 2025, our team rescued 38 children from across the country. Now, for those of you who may not know it, this work is even worse than what you think. Two defendants, a Prasan Nepal and a Leonidas Varagianins, ran something called 764, which was basically a telegram channel directing vulnerable children under the threat of extortion to post content of their own sexual abuse, their own sexual self-mutilation, as well as self-immolation, resulting in some cases in attempted suicide by these youngsters who were being extorted. Horrific, horrific group. And on the international cartel front, we took unprecedented action against the drug cartels that poison American communities. After President Trump and Secretary Rubio declared the Sinaloa Cartel a foreign terrorist organization, we seized more than 300,000 kilograms of methamphetamine precursors from the Sinaloa Cartel, one of the most violent and sophisticated transnational foreign terrorist organizations. This was the largest seizure of precursor chemicals known in American history. The vessel carrying this precursor chemical was interrupted on the high seas and brought into U.S. waters in Houston, where we met them. It was disrupted. The supply chain was disrupted that was used to manufacture meth. And by going after the precursor chemicals, we're striking at the source and not just the symptoms. And for a visual, it took 24 18-wheelers to transport the product that we took off this ship that amounted to a street value of $500 million. Now, I've talked about street crime and drug crime and keeping the community safe, but we're also talking about what happens behind closed doors and protecting victims of domestic violence. We have established right now that there is an increase in strangulations in the district by, I believe it is 59% or 60%, 59%. So there is still crime happening behind closed doors. And we need to do more to protect victims of domestic violence. We've established a very aggressive approach to strangulation. Let it be known to the women in this district that if a man puts a hand on your neck or in any way restricts or prevents you from breathing, you are in serious danger and it is time to leave. If you have been the victim of a strangulation, there is an 800% chance that he will kill you. It is time to leave. It is time to get in touch with people in the field, including my office, to find the best and the safest ways to get out of these relationships. And unfortunately, as a result of this, we are seeing more homicides that are predictable. Now, it's only recently that strangulation was raised from a misdemeanor to a felony. And it's because of what my office did in the past year. And I have to give credit to Alana Suttenberg, who will be a judge soon in Superior Court, a member of my staff, still, I think, working. who fought hard to make sure that strangulation is considered a crime of violence so that the presumption is detention in these cases. So we have also done extensive police training on this to let the police know the kinds of questions that they need to ask, including the blockage of breathing and restriction of blood circulation. And within my office, we have a program for women and men if they are victims, but primarily 95% of women, called VIPER, Violent Intimate Partner Emergency Response. We have a holistic approach in my office, everyone from investigators to take on these cases to the people and victim witness, to the prosecutors, getting the victims in immediately, having long-term constant contact with them so that they stay in touch and continue fighting for justice. Now, we did something very unusual that got the attention of some major companies. We created a Scam Center Strike Force, which is now a public-private partnership focused on Chinese organized crime syndicates and scam centers in Southeast Asia, targeting Americans with fraudulent cryptocurrency investments. And it has been met with resounding acceptance. We've partnered with Meta, with Microsoft, with Amazon, and with Google to find the fraudsters who have scammed Americans out of close to $15 billion, with a B, in 2024 alone. My Strike Force team has seized and forfeited over $400 million in cryptocurrency and is focused on recovering stolen funds and returning them. And of late, you've heard about what's going on the high seas. My office has played a strategic role in securing the warrants and the critical seizure of oil tankers transporting sanctioned products. We have provided the legal basis necessary to seize oil tankers transporting black market oil through court-ordered search warrants. By targeting these sanctioned vessels, the United States, through the diligent legal efforts, is able to make sure that we seize both the ships as well as the products that are on those ships. Those seizures come out of my office because of the expertise within the Threat Finance Unit of my National Security Section and for jurisdictional reasons as well. We have dramatically increased the pace and the volume of these operations to make the world a safer place. Assets forfeiture. Old crimes being committed in new ways doesn't change our focus. From Hamas, we forfeited $2 million in cryptocurrency used by various foreign terrorist organizations, including funds Hamas used in support and facilitation of the October 7th attacks. In North Korea, we seized approximately $20 million worth of cryptocurrency from North Korean hackers known as the Lazarus Group, who targeted American enterprise. And from Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran attempted to evade U.S. sanctions. We were there to stop them. They attempted to procure helicopters worth $3 million. We forfeited them. We got also a Russian company where we seized $1 million of their funds. And when Iran attempted to defy U.S. sanctions on their oil, we seized approximately $130 million worth of it. And finally, the age of accountability. Most of you know from the time I got here, I was very focused on reducing the age of accountability in the district. We have 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds who are not criminally liable, except for very few exceptions. Every day in the office, I see more and more proof of the necessity of making the young people in the district accountable and criminally liable for their criminal actions. A few days ago, another 16-year-old shot and killed a 20-year-old in D.C. We have seen far too many homicides committed by these underage kids who have a history of violence, that they skate through family court, that they get through it without any real punishment, and when they arrive at the scene old enough to go into criminal court, it's with a homicide. They don't start with a petty larceny. And this concept of protecting them because of their youth is absurd. The only people who need to be protected are the victims. And until that law is changed, whether it's by the D.C. Council or Congress, the citizens of this district will not be completely protected. And we're pushing for critical legislative changes. Second chance amendment reduces the sentence, even mandatory minimums. If you're under 25 and the legislature has said, you know, you've got to serve 5 to 15, if you're under 25 in the district, judge can give you probation. Like the case I always talk about, the kid who goes on the bus, shoots another kid. It's 5 o'clock. There was a family on the bus, shoots him in the chest, but for the grace of God, the guy would have died. It's intent to kill as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't die. We make the arrest. The MPD makes the arrest. We prosecute. We get a conviction. Judge cuts him loose under second chance. It's absurd, and it's an insult to the people of this district. Our approach is simple. It's to protect the people and to make the criminals accountable. And finally, looking forward, this office will be prosecuting a defendant who has evaded justice for far too long in the bombing of Pan Am 103, where 270 innocent people, including, I believe, 35 from Syracuse University, and families from 21 different countries were mercilessly blown up in the sky right before Christmas over the town of Lockerbie, Scotland in 1988. My office has worked this case with our partners at the FBI and international partners as well for decades. Abu Aguila Mohammed Masoud Kier al-Marimis is now in custody in the district. Judge Dabney Frederick has promised to begin this case by July of 2026. There are other well-known cases that are headed for trial this year. One, the case of an innocent congressional intern, Eric Tarpinian Jackham, mercilessly shot down by young punks with prior records who are now in custody. The young couple at the Capitol Museum in May, Yaron Lashimsky, as well as Sarah Milgram. The two National Guardsmen who were shot, Sarah Beckstrom, deceased, Andrew Wolf, hopefully on the mend. These are victims that we fight for every day. And in addition, you may remember the Doge staffer, Big Balls, that's the name he gave himself, brutally assaulted. Many thought we would never find out who the assaulters were. This case will be going to trial with the older assaulters, abusers, responsible in criminal court. And as an aside, several of them are still in the family court, but they should be in criminal court along with Lawrence Cotton Powell and Anthony Taylor. These achievements did not happen in a vacuum. They are the result of bold policies championed by President Donald Trump, empowering us to enforce the law without apology. And to the criminals who thought that D.C. was an easy target, those days are over. We're building on the momentum from 2025 with even more resources dedicated to the emerging threats like cybercrime and organized crime rings. I want to thank my dedicated team of prosecutors behind me, some of whom you've never seen, the investigators, as well as the support staff for their tireless work that they do quietly every day, every night, weekends, holidays. And to the residents of D.C., your safety is our priority, and we're just getting started. Any questions?
Judge?
Yes.
You mentioned that Congress or the D.C. Council could make those changes that you've been outlining to the juvenile laws. You have a fairly detailed proposal. You published an op-ed with the details of what you'd like to see. Do you think there's an urgency to get those changes in before the midterms?
Well, I don't judge anything by, political midterms. I judge them by the number of people that we're going to lose before we change the law. You see, the most striking statistic to me was the one where 2 teens were killed in 5 months when we had more than 2 every month. And that's because we're taking these criminals and these violent offenders off the streets. We're taking the guns away from them. The sooner we can get these young kids who are committing assault with a deadly weapon, but it's not a crime if they're 14, 15, or 16, or 17, they're in family court. The sooner I can get them in criminal court, the less chance there is for them to kill someone. I don't care about politics. I care about lives. Yeah.
Two questions for you. Since the last time we talked to you in person, I know that the report had come out about the DC crime data.
Yeah.
And since then, we have a new police chief in place. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about Chief Carroll and your office working with him moving forward.
Well, I think Chief Carroll's great. I've been working with him since I got here. I have a lot of faith in him. I like the guy. Probably shouldn't say it, but I did. You know, there you have it.
The data that you put out in front of us, just what specifically do you point to as far as the surge being the reason for the drop in crime? Because obviously we're looking back to 2024.
It's like a brick wall, okay? Crime doesn't just stop because criminals decide they're not going to commit it anymore. They don't commit crimes because there are people on the street and they're afraid to commit crimes. It is that visual that makes it clear to them, if I step out of line, if I carjack. I mean, who would have thought when I first got here, carjacking is down 68%, and the cars were getting torched. I don't know what the point of the torching is, other than, you know, it's some, well, you tell me, you're laughing. Why do they do that? Okay? Now, it's down because they know we're gunning for them. They know we're coming for them. They know someone's going to see them. That's why we need to reduce the age of accountability and responsibility. That's why the homicides are down. All right? It is amazing. You tell people you're going to follow the law, you're going to arrest them, and if you get a judge who doesn't give them probation, then we have a chance of getting businesses to survive, families to live here in peace. The district then blossoms.
I think it's fair to say that the surge led to an unprecedented pushback from grand juries and even magistrate judges who are refusing to take indictments. How do you explain?
You know,
how's your office?
if I were here for a long time, I might be able to answer that question. But I've been here since May. So, I mean, I have my thoughts, but I can't say for sure.
Well, has it affected the way that your office prosecutes and charges these cases?
Yeah, we charge higher.
Is it fair? Is it fair to say, we know that there was the presidential emergency, right? The 30-day emergency.
Right.
But it is fair to say that that federal surge of agents is still going on in the district.
I don't know that I would call it that. There's an enhanced cooperation that the mayor has agreed to and that the PD is working. Look, I talk to members of the police department all the time. I mean, they're grateful for the help. We now have a system where we've got a gun, it goes to ATF, we know to call FBI, we know to call Secret Service, we know to call DEA. I mean, we've got a system. And during the surge, I mean, you guys were there. You were there, Matt. You were there. I mean, we had a system where now you make an arrest, everybody comes together. Before, it's like, we need to get the BWC, we need to get this, we need to get that. No, it's immediate.
So you think that this is something that's going to continue?
I don't know, because I'm not in charge.
And the National Guard, I know a lot of people, and I know that you don't run the National Guard, but in terms of agents being here, there's the federal agents, and then there's the National Guard. Unfortunately, these two poor folks, you know.
Yeah,
terrible.
terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. Any idea if they're going to be here in perpetuity?
I have no idea, but what I can tell you is that I respect them for what they're doing. They're making a difference. Everyone in the district should thank God they're here, because they're the reason homicides are down. They're the reason strangulation, the carjackings are down. They're the reason why thugs are now in custody, who might never be in custody. I mean, this is full throttle. We're one of the most violent cities in the country, the fourth highest homicide rate in the country. I mean, we were headed for hell. Not anymore.
Judge, DOJ is suing D.C. over the city's, challenging the city's ban on AR-15s and other semi-automatic weapons as unconstitutional. Your office touts removing those types of guns off the streets. I think you said 856.
Yeah.
As evidence that the federal surge in your office's work is working. How do you reconcile
Easily
advocating for more removal of these guns while also limiting the
Easily. If you possess a gun legally and it is registered, then you have the right to have it. However, if you are using a gun in a crime, then we're going to seize the gun and we're going to prosecute you for that. They are not at all inconsistent.
Even AR-15s and the semi-automatic weapons that your office...
The Department of Justice has made a decision that they're going to do whatever they're going to do. I am bound by the D.C. statute and the D.C. law. You want to add anything to that?
No, just also we
You
focus
can
on-
talk.
Well, also,
Talk.
I mean, anybody who is a felon who is possessing those types of weapons are, of course, going to be arrested and held accountable. And so just because the Department of Justice is standing up for Second Amendment rights doesn't mean that we don't have the ability to prosecute criminals who are holding illegal firearms.
She's the PAUSA. Principal AUSA, PAUSA.
Judge,
What?
how many warrants do you have? I have two questions. Number one, how many warrants do you have for Venezuelan oil tankers?
You think I'm going to tell you that?
The second question I have is...
I'm very proud of this team. See this guy over here? These people work day and night and weekends.
Will he tell me?
No.
The second question I have is, obviously today's the 5-year anniversary of
I knew it. I knew it.
What is your,
I
what is
knew
your
it.
message to people who want to come to the district and commit political violence?
My message to anybody, irrespective of the day, is don't plan on coming here because I'm here. And I look forward to meeting you if you're coming here for that purpose.
So I have a related question. You've been touting the efforts to push for fiercer convictions, your high conviction rate. It's also the case that the president pardoned a number of individuals who were convicted of these violent crimes, many of whom have gone on to be rearrested for further violent crimes, something you have spoken about happening to juveniles in the district. How do you reconcile the president's pardoning of those individuals with what you're touting as a push to crack down on violent crimes?
My job, since I got here in May, is to prosecute crime. I'm not here to comment on anything else other than the crime that I am prosecuting.
Does it make
Period.
it harder?
I am grateful that the president made the decision to make D.C. safe for the people who live here, for the women who live here, for the people who own cars, for the mothers of murdered sons. You're damn right. There's nothing difficult about working for this president. Nothing.
On the strangulation point, the city, Maryland and an advocacy group there is the first in the country to create a hotline, 24-hour hotline for abusers and potential abusers.
Oh, interesting.
We've already started to see early success on that. Is that something that you think could be successful here, that you would support and advocate for?
Yeah, well, obviously, you know what, everything depends on staffing, but I like it. I mean, I like the idea. I've been doing this for a long time. And I think that abusers have to be dealt with. And when we did a conference in October, a domestic violence conference, I don't know if you were aware of it, we had one gentleman who was phenomenal. Do you know the name of the guy? Tim, do you remember the guy? He works with men. This guy is incredible. I'm going to call him and talk to him about that because he's the guy who would do something like that. Absolutely.
I'll call him too if Tim gets the number.
All right, guys.
What do you say to residents who hear the president consistently misrepresent crime statistics, as recently as this weekend, saying incorrectly that there had been no homicides in months in D.C., when we all know that that's just not factually correct? No doubt homicides and crime are significantly down. But when they hear the President of the United States repeatedly misrepresent the true crime stats, what do you say to residents about that?
What I say to residents is thank goodness for the president, because if we didn't have him, we wouldn't have the ability to get crime and homicides down. Next question.
Does it help to have him out there misrepresenting, giving in?
I'm not even going to respect that question with an answer, and you know I'm not. I already answered you. I don't want to have a fight with you. Go ahead. I just did. Check your recorder.
Two questions. First, you mentioned that there were issues previously with the MPD's stats. Do you fully trust those now? And
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk about some of the changes made?
Yeah, in fact, we are now involved in, as recently as I think next week, going over to MPD and working with them on all of the, the classifications of the crimes, how it's being done. There is a new chief now. I am very comfortable with what's happening now. I am.
I just want to follow up too on the question about the Gen 6 pardons.
God.
Does your team have
Well, that's all before me. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you commit a crime, I'm going to prosecute you.
Does your team have any concerns that that could impact the prosecution of the pipe bomber suspects?
No, not at all. Not at all. The pipe bomber was an individual who was mad at everybody, the Republicans and the Democrats, and he wanted to blow them up. And, he didn't accomplish his goal. And he needs to be prosecuted and will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Have no doubt. Not you again. Anybody else?
Can you comment on your officer Terry Bennett is an MPD officer who was struck by a driver. He's on life support right now.
What organization are you from?
DC Washington, Mark C.
Wow. All right. Do we know about this case he's talking about?
We know, I don't think we have anything on it yet.
I'm just wondering if,
Yeah.
if you're prepared to charge, should the officer be taken off life support, what would happen? The driver has not been charged with anything as of
I don't know the facts yet. Honestly, I don't know the facts yet. What do you, what is, what,
the suspect, they know who the suspect is. He just hasn't been charged with anything as of yet. The officer may not survive his injuries.
do you guys know about this, Spence? Yeah. You know what happens is we wait for the police to give us the report, obviously, and then we create whatever needs to be created in terms of legal process. I honestly don't know that one.
We have a vehicular homicide person who handles vehicular homicide.
Yeah, all right. As soon as we know, as soon as it gets to me.
And then
Not again.
I know. I don't get many opportunities with you. I appreciate your patience. In a few months, Councilmember Trayon White will go on.
Oh, I can't wait.
Well, could you elaborate on that? He has said that he's been set up by the FBI. He's currently serving on the council now. He was reelected after being removed. Can you tell us what you expect to come from this trial? You said you can't wait. Did you just put a little meat on those bones?
Yeah, I expect a conviction. I think the evidence is solid. I've seen the evidence. I don't like individuals who work for government, whether it's federal, state, local, and who use that as an opportunity to line their pockets. It's unacceptable.
Should he be serving right now on the council?
That's not up to me. That was up to the people. They made that decision.
Can I
What?
ask about your collaboration with federal authorities, FBI, etc.?
Yeah.
You reportedly intervened to try to overrule.
I'm not going there. Bye.
Several FBI agents.
Happy New Year, everybody. Take care.